Hey everyone, so today we're going to be diving into the Claude Agent SDK, formerly the Claude Code SDK. And we're going to show what is it all about, what does it do, and actually how is it going to help you improve your efficiency with coding. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Claude's docs, Claude Agents SDK. We're going to go there. And I'm also going to open up my IDE of choice. I'm going to open up Cursor. And I'm going to set that there. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up a new project and I'm going to name it Claude Agents SDK. You can name it whatever you want, but just looking at the overview, you can see that you can build agents that can autonomously read files, run commands, search the web, edit code. And so basically what it is going to be agents within your code repository that you can call at any time. Think of them as like experts within your code repository. So let's get started with a quick start. And note, this video is going to be a very quick start to get you into it, get you understanding the concept of it, and then you can learn as you start using it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install it. So what I'm going to do is open up my terminal, command backtick, and we're going to copy and paste it. I've already installed it, so it's going to give me an error. The next thing we're going to do is it's going to create a project folder. So we've already created the project folder, so we don't have to do that. The next thing is to install the SDK. So I'm just going to do Control-C to kill that process. And we're going to install the Agent SDK. It's probably going to say you've already installed it, but for you, it won't. The next thing is to set up your environmental variable. So if you don't have Claude set up in your environment, you would set up a .m file, like new file, .env, and you would put it in, get your key from console.anthropic.com. But what I'm going to do, since I have already set up, is we can just move to the next step. So the example that it's using here is you're going to create a buggy file or a file with errors. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say create a file that has bugs in it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create this kind of file in our repository, and then we're going to build an agent that is specifically meant to find and fix bugs. And you may be asking, why can't I just use the main Claude agent for this? And it's not necessarily for this specific situation. What it is, if you have a very specific code base that is very tailored towards your industry or a certain process of doing things, you can create agents that are tailored towards your workflows and the way you want your code to be set up. And you'll find the more you use Claude Code, the more you find that, oh, I need to tailor this a little bit more to my use case. So we have this buggy code file. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build an agent that finds and fixes bugs. And so you can see here the prompt is review utils.py for bugs. That was actually the example file, so we're gonna have to edit it to our buggy code file. So I'm gonna say, now what I want you to do is create this agent file, and I want you to point it to the buggy code file and make it a specific agent for fixing this code. But here's an example of the code. So I just came in here and I'm gonna paste the code. And what it's going to do now is it's going to create another file that has this agent that is going to go ahead and fix the code. The code has three main parts. So you have the query. So this is the main entry point that starts the agentic loop. You have the prompt. This is what you're telling Claude to do. So you can see here, review utils. You can make this as long as you want. And then you have your options, configuring the agent with allowed tools. And you can also add a system prompt and MCP servers. But you can see these are the tools that are available to Claude here, allowed tools and permissions. I'm just going to keep accepting this as it builds and then running your agent. So the next thing we're going to do is your agent is ready to run. You can either run it in TypeScript or Python. Let's see what we made it in. So Claude made it in TypeScript. So now we can just go to the TypeScript one and say run the agent. But what I've noticed is if you don't have another terminal where you manually run it, it's not going to show you the exact output of running the agent. So I find it's better if you actually create a new terminal and run the agent here, because you can actually see what's going on. There might be a way to see it in the Claude chat, but I just haven't figured it out yet. So it's just running. And while that's loading, I'm just going to ask it, can you give me the command to run it myself? I could obviously ask Claude, like, how do I run it myself? itself, or how do you show me what was the output of the run? But for this situation, we're just going to ask Claude for the command to run it. So Claude switched their SDK from Claude Code to Claude Agents. And what this means is Claude is becoming more universal. It's not just for code anymore, it's for all kinds of work. So you can imagine having a folder with 10 different agents doing different things for your business, whether it's generating reviews, content, messages, commits, a whole bunch of different things that you can do. And having all these agents set up in your code base is like having a whole workforce for you right within your code base. And so you can see the agent ran successfully and fixed all 10 bugs. And so I've asked it to give me the command, and so I can just copy it in here and paste it because I want to show you what the actual output was from it. And it's actually going to show us like exactly what that agent did. So you can see if you go to the buggy code, you can see that there were changes made. And you can see this is the fix bug agents here on the left. And it says the file appears to have already been partially fixed. However, let me analyze it carefully for some from other bugs. Based on the comment, it seems like the file is meant to show the corrected version. However, you asked to review it for bugs, and you can see it's actually going back. And you can see this agent has loops. It has tools so it can run things in a loop. There's also other tools you can use, is like web search. So customize your agent, add web search capabilities. And one thing I noticed that makes it really easy to learn these docs is you can just copy and paste what it's telling you to do, and you can tell Claude to do it. So I'm just gonna paste this in and maybe add a little bit of ad lib saying, I'd like to also learn to use web search with the Claude Agents SDK. So can you give me a simple example on how to do that? So you can see it's creating a whole bunch of different agents now for us. And you can see these are all different agents that it created for us. And then it has the web research agent. So what I want to do now is I want to ask it to use the web research agent for us. Okay, great. Can you now use the web research agent for us? I want to see how it searches the web and what it can do for us in a real life scenario. Web research agent in a real life scenario. As you can see, there's tons of different things you can do, and you can dive deeper into all these different guides. The two that I recommend are the agent skills, so actually giving these agents very industry-specific skills to what you do, and then the sub-agents. This is where you can have a team of agents being called by a manager agent, and this is just where it gets super powerful. A lot of your work gets automated. And so it's going ahead and it's doing this research. Let's see what the actual web research is. Research Python best practices for error handling, then review buggy code. So it's first doing the research, and then it's editing the code. And so you can see what multi-tool use is available with Claude Code. And so I hope you liked this intro to the Claude Agents SDK. There's going to be a lot of development going on. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I'm happy to make a video about that, and have a great day.